Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video today we're checking out 10 culture shocks tourists have when they visit Italy. So I've been doing quite a few reactions to Italian culture on this channel, and make sure you guys go subscribe to Walter's World. He's the one who made this video and he's very good. I've seen some of his videos before and he's always very good. So let's get right into it for today. Let's go.
Ciao fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and we're in Rome. You got the Colosseum over here and Constantine's Arch over here, just to prove...
Yeah, I definitely need to visit the Colosseum one day. That's definitely on my bucket list.
that we are actually in Rome, in Italy, and today what we have for you are 10 things that will shock you about visiting Italy. Now, the first thing that's going to shock most Americans when they come here is, no, there are no spaghetti and meatballs.
Oh.
Yes, they have spaghetti in Italy, and yes, they have meatballs in Italy, but you don't eat spaghetti and meatballs together. You don't order that when you go there, okay? So just be prepared for no spaghetti and meatballs. Now, with the food, what will kind of shock you about that is Italian food is more than just pasta and pizza. There actually are lots of great meats, lots of great cheeses, and yes, lots of great wines. So make sure you experiment the different food. I mean, different cities have different bread and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you're going out there and experimenting everything you can.
Wait, did that say horse? Is that actual horse, or is that like a code word for something else? Because that's not actual, like, the animal horse, right?
Bread and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you're going out there and experimenting everything you can, because the food in Sicily is very different than the food in the Veneto. So get out there and try some more, and just know you'll be shocked that no, there is no spaghetti and meatballs. Damn it. The second thing that might shock you about the Italians is, yes, they are very loud and they love to communicate. And the farther you go south, it seems like the louder they get. Now, what's cool about this is, well, they will talk to you. Even if they don't speak English, they will still communicate with you and you will still make friends with them, okay? But just be prepared for loud talking, loud people, you know, at the restaurants, in the buses, in the trains, things like that. Just know it's going to be a loud vacation when you do come here, and that does shock some Americans when they come. No, they're not upset. That's just, they're very gregarious. They love to talk, they love to communicate, and sometimes that does shock people when they come here.
I mean, that's good. It sounds like they're friendly in general, but the Americans being shocked at how loud the Italians are has me questioning, how loud are the Italians? Because if you ever go on holiday anywhere, the American tourists are normally the loudest. So if they're shocked by how loud the Italians are, I'm kind of curious about that.
The third thing that might shock tourists when they come here, or slightly annoy them, is the Italian concept of time.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this.
We're going to meet at 9:30, probably means about 10. You're not really ever really late to anything in Italy. You just show up when you show up. And if you're coming from Germany or if you're coming from the US, you're used to, oh, we have dinner at 7, we eat at 7. No, it doesn't work that way here. They have a much more relaxed version of time. So just know, if Italian, when you're here, says, oh, you should show up like 7:30. No, you have until 8 or a little after. It's no problem, okay? Now, I will say there's one caveat to this. When it comes to public transportation, especially the trains, like the Freccia, they are on time. Maybe a few minutes late, but they are on time. So don't be late, because you will miss your train, okay? So just know, Italian concept of time may shock non-Italians. The fourth thing that might shock travelers when they come here are the opening hours. You're thinking, oh, well, it's open in the morning, it should be open in the afternoon. Wrong. Lots of stores will close in the middle of the day for a couple hours to go have lunch or go do other things. So if you're wanting to shop, get your shopping done in the morning or the late afternoon, early evening, because midday, a lot of the stores will close, and banks sometimes close at like 1:30 in the afternoon and they're done. So if you need to go to a bank to do any...
See, I'm kind of against that. I feel like things should be open more, because it's kind of hard to get stuff done, and during those times it's probably extremely busy because they're not open for long. So personally, I feel things should be open more. I kind of miss when things would be open 24 hours. Like, you had some supermarkets that were 24 hours, then due to COVID they kind of got rid of that.
Money or any transactions, do that in the morning, okay? The fifth thing that'll shock tourists when they come here are the hordes of tourists. People, Italy is fantastic.
That's not really a
here
shock
in
to
Rome
me.
Or Venice
I would
or
expect
Florence,
that.
or places that aren't so famous like Syracuse or Genoa or Vicenza. There are tons of tourists that come to Italy, and that means tourist hordes. And I'm specifically talking about, you will be shocked for the tourist hordes, for the lines, for here at the Colosseum, going to the Vatican museums, which yes, it's not in Italy, it's in the Vatican, but go with me on this
That
one.
makes sense to me though. I'm not
We're going
shocked
to
by
Piazza San
that.
Marco to see the Basilica San Marco in Venice. The lines are crazy, so make sure you're booking in advance. You want to go to the Fugazi, book in advance, because the lines will shock you how long they are and how crazy they get. The sixth thing that might shock tourists when they come here is eating at a restaurant in Italy does take a lot of time and multiple dishes. And I know if you're eating in the US, if everyone orders a dish, most of the time it all comes out at the same time. Here in Italy, you have primi piatti and secondi piatti, first plate and second plate. The first plate is pasta, okay, these kind of things. And the second plate are the meats. So let's say I order pasta, my wife orders meat. Well, it could be that my pasta comes, and after I finish, they take my plate away, then they bring her meat. Okay, so just be prepared for that. So if you're in a tourist place, they usually know, send out the food at the same time. But just in case, say, please bring all the food at once, especially if you have little kids, it's just easier that way. Another thing about eating in Italy, it's not just sit down, eat, and go. Here they like to stay for a while, have a coffee, have a tiramisu, have these things, you know, afterwards, cheese or a salad or whatever. What you need to know is if you want to go, you need to ask for the bill. Because I've seen a lot of shocked tourists going, why don't I have my bill? Because you need to ask for il conto, the bill, and then they'll bring it to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't really be shocked by that. At a restaurant, yeah, that makes sense.
And you can pay, and you can pay in cash, credit card, it's no problem here in Italy. Though I will say, if you want to get money out in Italy, make sure you have the little microchip in your credit card to open some of the doors into the banks to get to the ATMs, because since I have older cards, I have not been able to get into some of the banks during off hours, so just make sure you know that. The seventh thing that might shock you about coming to Italy are the nonnas, the grandmas, and how caring they are for everyone.
Oh,
even
that's
if you
nice.
don't want them to care about you. I can't tell you how many times we've been walking around, grandmas will take our kids into a restaurant or into a cafe and show them around, saying, oh, you need to see how we make pasta, how we make cheese, and they'll just drag my kids to the back. It's great. But on the other hand, it can be shocking if you're having dinner, and we were in the Amalfi Coast, and this grandma came up, and I was sitting there, and my brother was there with his wife. My brother's like this skinny, okay? She comes up, smacks my brother, says, you're too skinny, and then scolds my sister-in-law saying, you're not a good wife because your husband is not fat. I about freaking died.
Whoa, that is crazy. I mean, that's a little out of pocket. I feel that's a bit too far.
Laughing, but just know that you might get a little shocked by how the grandmas
Yeah.
and people in general will take care of you when you're here. They'll tell you, hey, watch out, there's some pickpockets there. Hey, your bag's unlocked. Hey, you
Oh, that's
shouldn't order
good,
this.
that's good.
You might be a little shocked by how helpful they are, or a little over helpful the nonnas, the grandmas can get, okay? And that goes into the eighth thing that might shock you, is how friendly Italians are. It doesn't matter they don't speak English with you or whatever, you don't speak Italian, they will speak with you, they will communicate with you, and they will be friendly with you. It's amazing. We go to a restaurant twice, we get to know the waiter, we get to know the owners, and we come almost like family, or at least really good friends with them, and they take us in, they tell us what to get, what not to get us free stuff, all kinds of things, because you become much more of a friendly family kind of atmosphere. So if you are staying someplace like Rome or Venice or Vicenza or wherever, go to the same restaurant a couple times and you'll start to see you'll develop these relationships, because the Italians are super friendly. And if you're coming here with friends and you want to see some of your other Italian friends, bring your friends with them, because the Italians want to meet more people and they are awesome. I cannot say it enough. Italian people are fantastic, probably the most friendly and great people in Europe. And that might shock some people to think that when they think, oh, Italians are just loud and crazy. No, they're loud, crazy, and super wonderful.
That's nice.
The
They're
ninth
friendly
thing that might
though,
shock
in
you
general.
about coming to Italy is there is a very big difference between the north and the south of Italy. The north is more industrial, you have a lot more museums, there's snow. Okay, you need to know, Italy has snow, okay? If you go to the north, it does get cold, okay? The south, you have much more farmland, there are less museums, it is slightly poor, but the people are a lot more friendly, okay? And so you have this kind of dichotomy of two kind of different regions of the country. And I'm not talking politics, because if you talk to people in the north, they get mad at the people in the south, and the south get mad at the people in the north. And don't get me started talking about calcio, soccer, how they fight each other. But just know there are some differences between the north and the south of Italy. So it's not just one homogenous group. I mean, Italy is only about 150 years old, and it was a lot of different kingdoms that were put together. So you do have a lot of different cultures and food and all kinds of stuff. And you will see that very much if you're going from Sicily to the Veneto or Liguria and things like that. The 10th thing that might shock you when you hear are the calcio fanatics. Calcio is soccer, and it is like a religion.
Yeah, I know the Italians love football. I know that, yeah.
Here in Italy, okay? There's kind of three religions in Italy. One, calcio, soccer. Two, fashion. And three, Catholicism. They love their pope. And you will see that, and you'll see in the news, if you watch Italian news or in the newspaper, there's always fashion, soccer, and the Pope in some way or some form. And that might shock people thinking, wow, that's a lot of Pope, or that's a lot of calcio. Yes, they do go for that. And when you are going, if you want to go to a soccer game or a calcio match, when you are here, I recommend you don't go to the derbies, like when it's, Lazio versus Roma or Inter versus Juventus, because these can be dangerous. I mean, I've gone to some games, Vicenza, Brescia, or Vicenza, Verona. I mean, these things, there's tons of fights, all kinds of things. We've had people throwing cups of urine off the top of us when we've been the visiting team. I've had police pat us down going to the stadiums, police escorts to the stadiums when we've gone to away games. And that's one of those things that might shock an American coming here, because in the US we think, oh, we go to a baseball game or a football game, we can take the whole family, it's a family experience. Here, it's not. Okay, here.
I mean, that's a bit like the UK. I feel like most football matches are pretty calm, but sometimes there are fights, you got to be careful. So I feel like piss is a bit extreme though.
Go with your buddies and just be smart about it, okay? So that might shock you as the calcio, and then I'll say with the love of the Pope and the love of fashion here, because they do dress immaculately here in Italy. And the 11th thing I'm going to give you, 11 little extra little thing out there that might shock you, is the driving and crossing the roads. If you go to Naples and you don't understand, it's how people actually walk through 5,000 cars going at the same time, knowing when you need to cross. Follow the Italians how they do it. Another recommendation is make eye contact with the driver so they know you're going to cross, and only cross in the crosswalk. Because if you cross and you get hit in the crosswalk, they have to pay you. But if you're literally this far outside the crosswalk when they hit you, you have to pay for the damages on their car. Okay? So just know that, and know that if you're going to places like Naples where there's like 8 lanes of traffic and 3 lanes, you will somehow...
That is outrageous. Imagine getting hit and having to pay for their car. That's crazy.
Meander through there and you'll be fine. Just don't freak out, okay? So those are 10, well actually 11 things that might shock you about visiting Italy. It is a fantastic place. We have other videos that might help you. 5 things you love and hate about Italy. Differences between the US and Italy for tourists to get you ready for when you come here. All on our website at waltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, and we really appreciate your likes and subscriptions, and we wish you a great time here in Italy, because it is fantastic whether you're shocked or not. Ciao!
Yeah, make sure you guys go support Walter's World. I really like that channel. So these are some culture shocks. I feel like some of them aren't that bad. Like, what's it called? I feel like the tourists, you expect there to be tourist hordes at the Colosseum. I mean, that's where everybody wants to go. Everybody wants to visit. So that makes sense. I'm a bit surprised about the grandmas, though. They're a bit blunt with what they say, it seems like. But they're meant to be very kind as well, although they do say some out-of-pocket stuff. And the football fans going a little bit crazy. I kind of expect that they might take it to a different extreme, but that kind of makes sense. And I don't really agree with the shop hours. I feel like things should be open more, but that's my opinion, of course. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. And spaghetti and meatballs, personally, I like spaghetti and meatballs. I know the Italians in the comments are probably going to disagree with me, but I do like spaghetti and meatballs. Separately, they're good as well, so I'm fine with them being separate, but I do like them together. So if you guys want more reaction videos like this, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.